Good evening, everyone. It's time for us to begin. My name is Father Paul Arnoult. It's my privilege to have so many folks from the community here represented to come out tonight in spite of the rain and all that. Truly, we are honored to help provide a space where we can come together, not only pray for peace, but pray for a return to these innocent victims, hostages, praying for a peaceful resolution. So again, I know there are many houses of worship represented here tonight. So I just, again, a warm welcome on behalf of the St. Bartholomew community, our staff and our parishioners. More than anything, thank you for coming out and showing your support. We are honored to have you with us. God bless.
This moment right now is the end of Shabbat, the Sabbath. Shabbat was violated on October 7th. The Jewish community and much of the world hasn't felt that Shabbat peace since then. I find myself going to the darkness, the chaos and void before creation really begins. Listen with me to a story from the Midrash, a rabbinic story imagining those first early days.
Our masters taught, when Adam, the first human, on the day he was created, saw the sun sinking in the sky before him, he said, "Woe is me, because I acted offensively. The world is darkening and it's my fault. And it's all about to return to tohu vavohu, to darkness and desolation, to chaos. Indeed, this must be the death that heaven has decreed for me." So he sat down to fast and to weep throughout the night, while Eve wept across from him. But when the dawn began slowly rising, he said, "This is the natural way of the world." And then he offered a thanksgiving sacrifice.
When darkness feels like the end, we have nothing to do but cry. But somehow, Eve joins him, assumes her natural connection with him, kenegdo, finding oneness by crying together. They cry through the long, dark night. And as Elie Wiesel taught, God gave Adam a secret. And that secret was not how to begin, but how to begin again.
I'm asking each of us tonight to cry together. And then, like Adam and Eve the next morning, to begin again. To find beauty in reconnecting, rebuilding trust, and recommitting to our communal bond. We are all made of the same earth and the same divine breath. We share the depth of the human heart. And yet we come from different traditions, different relationships and experiences with prejudice, trauma, and violence, with seen as being minorities or not minorities, with building allyships for all different reasons.
We cry together for the tragic and heartbreaking loss of innocent civilian life in this war. Before we are American, Israeli, or Palestinian, Christian, Muslim, or Jewish, we are human beings, one creation under God. As the Talmud and the Quran both implore us to remember, each life represents an entire world. And just as we humans are more than our labels, so too does God defy categorization. In the words of Bishop John Shelby Spong, God is not a Christian, God is not a Jew or a Muslim, or a Hindu or a Buddhist. All of those are human systems, which human beings have created to try to help us walk into the mystery of God. I honor my tradition, I walk through my tradition, but I don't think my tradition defines God. I think it only points me to God.
Within our hurt, our brokenness, our disbelief, our fear, our outrage, Let us cry together in the dark and then walk into the mystery. Shabbat has ended. Jewish tradition calls this time Havdalah, the separation or the transition.
Let's now sit in the darkness, the sadness, the chilling fear with stories of the darkest moments. It's important to share and honor these extremely difficult stories, and like Adam and Eve, weep together. And then we'll build ourselves back up with sweetness like the wine, light like the candle, and finally inhale again with the scent of the spices. And we'll end together with song, giving us the strength and vision to continue another day.
Thank you, rabbis. We start with stories of darkness. I'll bring my friend and colleague Adi Hayun Perez up, followed by Yael Nimon.
I'd like to invite you all to close your eyes with me for a few moments. As we all sit here quietly, imagine 10 hours of silence and darkness. But instead of the peace surrounding us now, imagine the sound of automatic gunfire and explosions. That was what my family had to go through. Please open your eyes. My name is Adi. I live here in San Francisco. I'm a community leader. I'm a mother, a wife, and I'm Tal's big sister. I want to tell you about Tal, my only sister. Tal is the most sensitive, funny, intelligent, compassionate, and kind person I know. At 37, she is an amazing therapist who has saved many lost and wounded souls over the years. Her husband, Roy, a psychologist himself, and Tal dedicated their lives to the well-being of others. They are the parent of 3 beautiful children, 7 years old, Yahav, 5 years old, Rif, and Libby, now only 3 months old. All my extended family lives in Kibbutz Kfar Aza. My sister and her family, my father, my uncle, his son and his family, and my aunt. That is part of our tribe. Kibbutz Kfar Aza is our home, our community. My most beautiful memories are there. It's not only the name of a place, it's millions of stories connecting people, creating life. On October 7, 6:30 a.m., our October 6, 8:30 p.m., the most horrendous, unimaginable nightmare started. In the WhatsApp group of our tribe, I began to understand that something unusual was unfolding. Unfortunately, we are used to the usual red alerts, but when I saw my family asking if everyone locked the door, it hit me. In the first red alert from a rocket attack, my sister Tal and Roy ran with the kids to the shelter room. Soon, they heard the sound of automatic weapon shooting near their windows. They stayed for more than 10 hours in a tiny shelter room, in the heat and darkness, without food or water. My nephews were confused and terrified. Tal breastfeeded Libby to calm her and keep her quiet, but she soon became dehydrated from lack of water or food and ran out of milk. During those hours, they heard gunfire in their house and heard someone trying to open the metal window. Luckily, he didn't manage to do so. The door had no lock. Ro'i kept holding the door handle with all his strength to prevent the terrorists from getting in. Riv started to vomit from fear. For the first 2 to 3 hours, they had cell phone internet service and could get information about what was happening. Ro'i, is everyone blocked? I wrote to him. Yes, he wrote back. Are you all right? For now, he answered me. And I'm just trying to strengthen their spirit. The army is already here. Don't worry, it will be over soon. I lied. It was a complete lie. I wrote, please, Ro'i, send me a sign every 15 minutes, an emoji, something. We are with you. Don't worry, everything will be fine. And so I sent a sign for 2 hours, and he returned. Then we lost connection and contact for a few agonizing hours. After 10 hours, the kitchen smoke alarm sounded. And minutes later, smoke started to enter the room. They had to choose what to do next. Wait inside and risk getting burned alive, or get out of the room through the window and risk facing the terrorists. In a courageous split-second decision, my family made a daring escape from the window, barefoot and in only underwears. As they started running, Yahav, only 7 years old, asked his mom, my sister Tal, Mom, is that the end of the world? Luckily, they spotted an IDF jeep and jumped into it. The soldiers covered the children's eyes so that they did not see the terrible sight around them as they drove outside of the kibbutz. They survived. My sister and her family were the only ones who survived that day from their neighborhood. The only ones. Although they survived, and we are very grateful for that, they have lost everything else. Their house burned down. They have no home to return to. They have lost friends and neighbors. They are in extreme emotional trauma, and our family tribe separated. The path to recovery is long and uncertain. I'd like to thank you, Rabbi Laurie, for inviting me today, and for all of you who joined together in support and solidarity with our community in Israel. Today, my family's survive story is being echoed, magnified by each and every one of you. Today, you hold the testimony of my family. As Thanksgiving approaches, following by the lights of Hanukkah, we can inspire hope and allow my sister and her family to heal. Together, we can make a difference in their life, and in doing so, we will ensure a brighter future. Today, I'm asking you to support my sister family, the Hadar family, so they can resume helping and healing many others. Thank you so much.
I'm Ilana Hartley, and I'm going to read an excerpt written by my cousin, Maya Alper. Like me, Maya loves going to live music and music festivals. And if I was in Israel this fall, instead of in the summer, I would have gone with her to the Tribe of Nova Music Festival. Heaven and hell are choices. They are states of mind that we can choose to be. I was in the heart of the war zone after running for my life. For 6 hours, as I was hiding in a bush, I heard thousands and thousands of gunshots coming from the villages around me, knowing that terrorists were massacring innocent children, men, and women. I saw the people that were with me getting shot at as we were running together for our lives. I saw the smile the terrorist had on his face as he shot the girl and she fell to her death. I saw the fear and worry and the amazing strength of the soldiers that helped me get out of my bush and towards safety, on a mission to save all the families that are getting massacred and willing to lose their lives to do so. I will be forever grateful for the brave souls and their sacrifices to help me and every single person. At the end, the people that got me out of the war zone were Israeli Arabs. They got me from my bush all the way to my dad's arms and to safety. In all of that, being surrounded by living hell, so much death and hate, I sat in my bush smiling, breathing, praying in my own way for myself, for peace, and for love. I realized that between all of the bombs, gunshots, and screams, the birds were still singing, and behind all the smoke, the sky is still blue. I kept focusing on that. Whenever any thought of stress, fear, anger, or revenge came to my mind, I stopped. I took a breath and gave gratitude for at least 3 things in my now moment. Thank you for the bush that is keeping me safe. Thank you for the birds singing to me. Thank you for me for doing such a great job at the situation I'm in. Now, being home with my family, safe and sound, my heart and soul can't even begin to imagine the horrors the kidnapped children, men, and women are going through in Gaza, and the unimaginable things our brave soldiers are going through, including my own brother, who was fighting and saving people at the nearest village to my bush, without even realizing his sister was right there in need of rescue. I don't have all the answers on how to bring world peace, but I was able to bring peace and heaven to myself in the heart of that living hell. Every time you have a thought that comes from fear, anger, hate, or revenge, stop, breathe it out, and replace it with 3 things you are grateful for. Our words have so much power. Please use them wisely. As long as we are breathing, we are winning. I'm sending love and strength to the families who have lost their loved ones, sending prayers to those kidnapped in Gaza, to our brave soldiers, and for every living being on this earth. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. May all living beings all over the world be forever happy and free. Keep choosing and acting from a place of love and not fear. That is the difference between living in heaven and hell.
Would you join us on page 4 in your program? May the one who blessed those before us bless all those suffering from the devastating atrocities and their aftermath in our midst. May the souls of those departed because of violence and hate and its reverberations rise and find peace. And may their loved ones find comfort somehow, some way. As the psalmist reminds us, God is with the brokenhearted. And may it be your will, divine womb, that we are able to bring home those precious humans taken captive or still missing.
As Jeremiah laments, a voice is heard in Ramah, mourning and great weeping. Rachel weeping for her children and refusing to be comforted because they are no more. Please, God, bring your children home. Please, source of life, give us strength to continue loving and building trust and friendships across boundaries. And amidst the hate and separation, please, divine force flowing through all, give us strength to carry on, to cling to hope, to the belief that one day there can be a better world. Amen.
Shomer, Shomer, Israel, sing. Shomer, Shomer, Israel. Shemor, Sherit, Israel. Shemor, Sherit, Israel. Ve'ayovad, 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 Israel. Ha'omrim Shema Yisrael. You repeat after me. Shomer, Shomer Yisrael. Your turn.
Shomer, Shomer Yisrael.
Shemor Sherit Yisrael. Sing.
Shemor Sherit Yisrael.
Ve'ayovad, ve'ayovad, ve'ayovad Yisrael. Ha'omrim Shema Yisrael. One more time. Shomer, Shomer Yisrael. You sing.
Shomer, Shomer Yisrael.
Shemor Sherit Yisrael.
Shemor Sherit Yisrael.
Ve'ayovad, ve'ayovad, ve'ayovad Yisrael. Ha'omrim Shema Yisrael.
Thank you. I want to thank our interfaith, multi-faith partners and clergy. We've gone through quite a journey to get to this moment of clarifying our intention and how we can come together. And if you notice, our team's got our back. That's why they're sitting here. And I appreciate it personally so much. So members of our multi-faith leadership community have testimonies of hostages who are in Gaza now. And I'm going to invite, if you have one of the posters, you're going to come up in a line and we'll hear those stories. And then Yael, whose sister-in-law and brother-in-law are in captivity, will come right after that.
"22-year-old Elan Ohel is a musician. He had just returned from extensive traveling a few weeks before October 7th. He and his girlfriend and another couple were at the Nova Music Festival. All four of them ran into a shelter, joining 27 other young adults who tried to escape. Hamas terrorists threw 7 grenades inside the shelter. Most of the grenades were rapidly thrown out by those who tried to take refuge, but some exploded, injuring and creating chaos while the terrorists came in and shot at everyone who was in the shelter. Elan was injured. His best friend was injured and survived to tell the family that Hamas kidnapped Elan in the back of a truck with his girlfriend. The IDF confirmed that they were among the 203 hostages. Elan's mom shared that the family had plans to visit Serbia, where they have roots as Holocaust survivors.
I'm asking us to remember Inbar Hyman. Inbar Hyman is a 27-year-old suburban student from Haifa. Like thousands of young adults, Inbar was at a party in Re'im on Saturday, October 7th. Inbar worked in Re'im as a helper. Her role was to help people who were not feeling well. After the terrorist attack A video of her being taken to Gaza by 4 terrorists was circulated. Her family heard that she was put on a motorcycle with 2 terrorists and managed to break free following the calls of her 2 friends with whom she went to the party, who encouraged her to run. Then another terrorist emerged from behind and put her back on a motorcycle.
And I'm asking you to remember a special way Doron Katz. Doron took her daughters, 4-year-old Raz and 2-year-old Aviv, to visit their grandma, her mom, at kibbutz near Oz. She called her husband Yoni around 10:30 a.m. saying, "There are terrorists inside the house." 2 hours later, Yoni watched on his phone a video showing Doron, her mom, and his daughters as they were kidnapped in Gaza. Since then, Yoni has been continuously interviewed by the world's TV channels, sharing the horrors of October 7th, 2023.
We remember Shoshan Haran, 66 years old. Dr. Shoshan Haran from Kibbutz Bay Ari founded Fair Planet, a nonprofit organization dedicated to resolving hunger in Africa. Dr. Haran was among the nominated for a Nobel Prize. She is held hostage with her family members, her siblings, and 5 of their children. Dr. Haran's mother, an 85-year-old Holocaust survivor, now awaits news about 8 of her family members, her children, and her grandchildren.
We remember Maya Regev. Itay, 10 years old, and his sister Maya were among the thousands who gathered at a nature party in Kibbutz Ra'im. Maya called her dad Elana when they heard the rockets above their heads. She reassured her dad that his kids were all well and on their way home. Before hanging up the phone, she said, "Dad, I love you tons. I'll be home soon. I'll call again from the road." An hour later, she called, and her dad heard her screaming, "Dad, they are shooting us. I'm dying. Help." Then the call dropped. After a very long wait that lasted 43 hours, Ilana and Mirit Regev were notified that their kids, Itay and Maya, were among the hostages in Gaza.
Assalamu alaikum and peace be upon you. Adina Mosh, 72, is believed to be one of the 203 hostages taken by Hamas. On Saturday, Hamas fighters shot and killed her husband, David Mosh, 75, as he and Adina huddled in their bomb shelter in Nir Oz, a kibbutz about 2 miles from the Gaza border. Adina saw the love of her life killed before her eyes and their house burned down. The couple's granddaughter, Anat Mosh, saw her grandmother in a video in which Adina, in a red top, was sandwiched between 2 terrorists on a motorbike driving away to Gaza. David Mosh was born in Iraq. Adina would make him his favorite Iraqi food, and our Shabbat table was always so full, says their granddaughter, Anat Mosh, in a phone interview on Thursday. They were so in love, you don't know how in love they were.
Hi, my name is Yael Nidam, and I'm here to give voice to my sister-in-law Rimon and her husband Yagev. It has been 42 days. 42 days since I got that phone call on October 7th. My father-in-law told me, "Your sister-in-law and her husband were kidnapped by Hamas. My heart stopped. Slowly, I began to understand that armed terrorists broke into my sister-in-law's home and grabbed her and her husband by force. I don't know how they got to Gaza. I live every day not knowing if they are dead or alive. Are they hurt? Are they tortured? Did they sleep? Did they receive medication? I am completely in the dark. My family is completely in the dark. And we share this darkness with the families of 240 hostages. We are a multinational community of scared sisters, brothers, mothers, fathers, sons, daughters, cousins. We come from the United States as well as from distant places around the globe, such as Thailand, Argentina, France, and Germany. We don't speak the same language, but we share the same pain. And with every day that passes, our pain grows stronger, and our fear and anxiety, they grow stronger. We are desperate for any piece of information about our loved ones. If only the Red Cross, which already provides humanitarian aid in Gaza, was allowed to visit the hostages, was allowed to provide medical aid to the hostages, we would at least know that our loved ones, what their status is. But so far, we have heard nothing from the Red Cross. Nothing from the Red Cross. The only information we have is disheartening. When Judith and Natalie from Chicago were released 2 weeks after they were taken hostage, they were wearing the same clothes they wore on the day they got kidnapped. When Yocheved Lifshitz was released, we found out that Yocheved, an 85-year-old grandmother, has lost 40 pounds in the 2.5 weeks that she was in captivity. When Hamas released a video of my sister-in-law, of Rimon Kirscht, she was not wearing her glasses, so I know that for the past 42 days, she was not able to see. Among the hostages, there are people with asthma, diabetes, people that need heart medication, babies that need formula. The Red Cross must see them. I pray every day for the immediate release of the hostages. I can imagine myself hugging my sister and brother-in-law. Whenever I think about Rimon and Yagev, I think about the great love that they share for each other. They are high school sweethearts. They got married 3 years ago and started a life in Kibbutz Nirim, an agricultural community that grows food for the entire region. They both strongly believe in peace and they advocate for social justice. Rimon and Yagev also have a big love of animals, and they've already adopted 4 cats and 5 dogs. When they come back, we will help them build an animal shelter so that they can continue saving wounded animals and taking care of the animals that they love so much. We need everyone's help in making sure that the terror does not get to say the final word about their destiny. Our most powerful response to the forces of evil that try to divide us is to stand together strong. Instead of spreading hate, our community stands for compassion. When I see people of all nationalities and religions coming together to demand peace and the release of the hostages. It gives me hope. Our voices for humanity and compassion matter. Thank you, each and every one of you, for being here and for bringing light into this world. Please keep the hostages in your thoughts, in your prayers, in your conversations. Please send a letter to your elected officials to let them know that your community wants the hostages back, demands the Red Cross visit the hostages. Thank you all for helping to bring our families home.
Please join me on page 5. Eli, Eli, shelo yigamer leolam, hachol vehayam, rish rush shel hamayim, berak hashamayim, tfilat adam, achol vehayam, rishu shel hamayim, berak hashamayim, tfilat ha'adam.
For all our family of the House of Israel, fellow Jews who face anguish and captivity, whether on sea or on land, may the divine have compassion upon them and bring them from distress to relief, from darkness to light, from subjugation to redemption, now, speedily, soon. Shomer Yisrael, guardian of Israel, we call out to you with fervent plea and prayer to bless and protect the civilian men, women, and children, babies to elders, brutally kidnapped by Hamas and held captive in Gaza.
May it be your will speedily and soon to bring them out from darkness and the shadow of death. May the Holy One of blessing break their bonds, deliver them from their distress, and release them swiftly back to the loving embrace of their dear ones. May relief, rescue, and long life may be the lot of every one of the soldiers and the civilians who have been taken hostage. Act on their behalf, God. Fulfill the verse from Isaiah, those redeemed by the divine will return. They will enter Zion with singing, and everlasting joy will crown their heads. Gladness and joy shall overcome them, and sorrow and sighing will flee away. May it be your will, and let us say, Amen.
So we've been in the darkness and crying with Adam and Eve and our friends. And we now will transition to the first piece of hope, to the wine, the grape juice, the sweetness. I find hope in the story of the Muslim, Israeli, Arab citizen in Lod near the airport who put a mezuzah on his shop door to make sure his Jewish patrons knew they could feel safe there. I find hope in the Holocaust survivor, 92 years old, who was hidden in Europe as a 2-year-old, making dolls for little babies and children evacuated from the south of Israel. I find hope in Israelis, including my own cousins, picking vegetables, leaving their high-tech jobs and going to the Gaza envelope, the area where the kibbutzim that were attacked are, which is responsible for 80% of the produce in the country, picking fruits and vegetables so that health and produce can still be part of society. And I find hope in the story that I heard from a friend who someone in their neighborhood had a bar mitzvah coming up. except one of the other neighbors' children's was killed on October 7th. And the father of the deceased is a good friend of the family. And the bar mitzvah parents came to this man and said, we don't know that we can go on with the bar mitzvah. It's too heavy, it's too much. We're in Shiva with you, we're in Shloshim, we're in mourning. And not only did the man say, you must go on, he said, you will have this in my backyard. I will host this party, I will host this simcha in my son's name. And that is the Jewish spirit, that life will continue, and we will fight for life, and we will find hope in the darkest moments. And so we move into a section of hope, of sweet wine, and then of the flame of our passion to continue to make this world better. So Rabbi Moshe, I invite you up, followed by Shimrit.
Page 7. Choose Life, a prayer after hearing of an act of terrorism by Devin Spire. After the initial shock, how will you rise above the grief and despair? Whom will you call? With whom will you work? And when? In a world surrounded by death, we must always, always, always choose life. Even though we may be wailing, we mustn't stop working. Life is too important, for we must always answer the call of all the living.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Laurie, for inviting me to speak here, and shalom, salam, peace for all the clergy here. This is so compelling to be in this multi-faith vigil. Thank you for doing it. My name is Shimrit Baron-Kamin. I'm the Associate Director of the New Israel Fund here in the Bay Area, and also a proud member of the leadership team of Unacceptable, the movement to advancing Israel's democracy. As we heard from wonderful Adi and Yael, it's been 6 long and difficult weeks of war following horrific Hamas attack in Israel. It's been 42 days since 240 men, women, children, elderly have been taken as hostages to Gaza and vanished. The heartbreaking news keeps coming every day. Like almost every Israeli, I also have a family who survived the terrorist attack in their kibbutz. And I have so many friends and people I know whose loved ones either kidnapped or murdered in the horrific attack. It's really hard to breathe right now. I'm also concerned about the rising anti-Semitism here. And yes, I mourn for the innocent victims on both sides. But in these difficult days, when there is so much darkness, grief, and pain around us, I wanted to take a moment and talk about hope and where I find it, because I think we all need some hope right now. As reports of the October 7 attack unfolded, countless Israelis abandoned everything they did to provide immediate relief and support in any way they could. The civil society in Israel rallied, holding everything together, anything you can imagine, from food to clothing, to actually, some people actually went to rescue people who stayed in the cities and the kibbutzim. The protest movement that advocated for the democratic soul of Israel before the attack for the 10 months prior to that, same as Unacceptable here in more than 40 chapters worldwide from the Bay Area to Australia, seamlessly transitioned to offering immediate humanitarian aid all across Israel. Because everything was so organized, it was easy to make this shift. And here at Unacceptable, we are so grateful for our remarkable community because we were able also to organize together with the Israeli and Jewish community, sending humanitarian help and mobilizing to call for the return of all hostages. The New Israel Fund, where I work, is the backbone of Israeli civil society,
And the incredible work happening there on the ground is something that every day I wake up and I'm looking for the stories of our activists and what they're doing. And it gives me so much hope. The hope is in the incredible people in Israel. I can tell you that my colleagues in Israel are helping in any ways, from securing hotel rooms for people who've been evacuated from the areas of the attack, to supporting for the families of the hostages, and also to assist vulnerable communities like the Bedouins in the Negev. From the story we heard here, the Bedouins, Israeli Arabs, were affected by the attack, and also a lot of them immediately ran to help for people who've been affected by the attack and rescue them. And in this context, I again wanted to express my gratitude for this multi-faith village. This initiative is beautiful and sending powerful message that we are united in this crisis and will emerge from it together. Hamas did not distinguish between Jews, Muslims, Christians, and Hindus. And now you can see Jews and Arabs working shoulder to shoulder in Israel, out of the understanding that we are in this together and we will overcome it together. The hope for a better future in Israel lies in the collective effort of those who are against violence, who are committed for democracy and committed for peace, so we can rebuild and recover from this terrible moment. And we will do it together with you, this incredible community, and all the support of the clergy here. And we know that we are not alone. But above all, before I finish, just want to acknowledge that we have one critical task stands before us. Without it, our journey for recovery cannot begin. We must ensure the safe return of all the 240 hostages. Bring them home now. Thank you so much.
I'm pleased to welcome 3 of our San Mateo County mayors. It can feel lonely to be a leader, but I think tonight we're showing that we're in it together. And so I'm just moved by your participation, commitment, and friendship. And I welcome Mayor Amarantz Lee, Mayor Jen Wallison, and Mayor John Fruman.
Good evening. I'm Amarantz Lee, Mayor of the City of San Mateo, and I'm so happy to be here with you tonight as the granddaughter of a Holocaust survivor and the first Jew of color to ever hold office in the largest city in our county. Anti-Semitism is not confined to a particular time or place, and it is right here in the Bay Area and all around us. There is no community member and no elected leader that is immune. In fact, us, Jewish electeds, have borne the brunt of unique targeting. From Walnut Creek down to San Jose, Sonoma, and San Mateo, our public meetings have been Zoom bombed. Racists and anti-Semites are using our city halls as a platform to amplify their bigoted and hateful rhetoric. Their efforts are to impede governance and to obscure public discourse. Unfortunately, in San Mateo, this has happened twice, and we were forced to listen to calls to build less housing and more gas chambers. Our children are growing up seeing swastikas in our playgrounds and on our schoolyards, more so than even in our own generation. Many of you know that my home was vandalized in 2020, and just this month, In my home, I received hate mail to my home address, where I live with my 2 kids. It was from the Goyim Defense League, a propaganda machine that denies the Holocaust and harasses Jews. Just days earlier, my close family friend, Shirley Dawn, died at 94. She was a loving mother and the wife of a successful baker. She survived Auschwitz and the attempt at the erasure of her human history and her story is unbearable and truly horrifying. Anti-Semitism is its own form of terror. Systematic intimidation, isolation, and dehumanization. Many of us are here to collectively grieve and learn about our Jewish 1,000-year-old history of struggle to create a sense of home and safety and belonging. It means so much to be here with you tonight, people of all faiths and cultures, and we appreciate you opening yourself and sharing the heaviness of our worry for our friends and our family and the suffering of so many innocent lives lost in this war. And while we feel the darkness, we will stand in the light. Jewish leaders are standing strong and tall together in the face of anti-Semitism. We are calling for peace here and abroad. And thanks to a project led by the Jewish Community Relations Council, the Bay Area Network of Jewish Officials, BANJO, was born. We are now more than 60 Jewish elected strong across 9 Bay Area counties. And we are supporting each other through connection and learning and sharing best practices. We are speaking with a common voice against anti-Semitism. Many of us are striving to find our own Jewish voice so we can respond in crisis and claim our Jewish identities as leaders who are here to repair and heal the world. As I turn to my colleagues in Menlo Park and Foster City, and those who could not be here tonight, including Senator Becker, Assemblymember Berman, and Mayor Mates of Belmont, I leave you with this message of hope. We are all being called to lift the Jewish community in the face of anti-Semitism. Tikkun Olam is our shared mandate with all of you to create a more just and equitable community. Thank you.
Thank you, Marilee. Good evening. My name is Jen Wallison, and I'm the mayor of Menlo Park. And I have to be honest, when Rabbi Laurie Matzkin asked me to come here tonight, I'm ashamed to say I didn't want to come. I had tickets to a high school play, and I felt like I needed a break. This has been a really hard time. I'm tired, I'm sad, I'm tired of feeling sad all the time. But I knew that all of you would be here, and everyone behind us would be here. And it's so important that we all show up together. And so you brought me out, and we lift each other up. This is a very hard time to be Jewish. As an elected official, I hear often from my constituents, and over the last 6 weeks, I've heard from many, many, many Jewish residents. They text me at all hours, I receive emails, calls, I get stopped on walks. Your Jewish neighbors are not okay. And I want to share with you a few things that have been occurring around our wonderful San Mateo County. There's been swastikas at our high schools, dismissed as anime symbols. Whether or not there was ill intent, the impact is important. There have been Holocaust jokes told in classrooms, again dismissed. There have been Jewish school kids that have been called a kike, had Heil Hitler salutes told to them, told that Jews suck, told them that Hamas are freedom fighters and are not to blame. And I also want to let you know how my Jewish Israeli residents are feeling. Not only are they dealing with the shock and trauma of October 7th, they're wakening up to find out how much anti-Semitism there is in the United States, and they're being targeted for their nation of origin. Kids at our schools are being told that they hope that their families in Tel Aviv are bombed and that they go to hell. Pro-Palestinian posters are hung in my downtown that say we demand our land back, all of it, which implies the destruction of the state of Israel and of the Jewish homeland. I was in a meeting with about a dozen Israelis. One told me how unsafe she feels by the slogan "From the river to the sea," and if there's a march in our downtown with people saying that, she'll want to move. Another person in the room said, "Where would you go?" Jews right now are dealing with survivor's guilt. We're confused. We feel abandoned. Some people are going and getting Jewish stars to wear. Other people are taking off their Jewish stars. We are all feeling incredible anxiety. And so it means so much to come out here into the light, to feel the warmth of people having our back, and to be in community with all of you. And may we see brighter days ahead.
Before I start my prepared remarks, I wanted to thank the ladies who shared their stories with us. You take a situation that appears to be across the world from us, you bring it right here in front of us, and you put your families in our hearts. Thank you. My name is John Fruman. I have the pleasure and honor of being the mayor of Foster City this year. It is a pleasure to be here, especially in the company of such a diverse community. As Jewish people, we know the many and varied ways hate and bias can be demonstrated against a group of people. My colleagues have discussed examples of anti-Semitic events that have taken place in our local communities, with similar demonstrations taking place worldwide. We are not new to these events, and unfortunately, they are not unique to us. Nearly all people have experienced hate or bias in some part of their heritage, or have a characteristic that has the possibility of being targeted by hate. We have all hoped that these types of disrespect would end at some time, as we can more fully acknowledge our sameness instead of emphasizing our differences. Unfortunately, this is still an unchecked box on our societal to-do list. I am very concerned about how we continue to divide ourselves into groups based on race, gender, national origin, and others, and fight for the rights of our particular group. As long as this dynamic is in place, our desired outcome will remain a dream of the future to which we aspire. As long as these groups speak only for themselves and fail to unite with a common message that hate of any type to any person weakens our entire community, we will continue to have gatherings such as this. Hateful actions will continue to plague our communities, and divisions will remain. I am proud that the Jewish community has stood up and stood by other groups during their struggles, including for civil rights, API struggles, women's rights, and even basic human rights in the Middle East. We must tackle this issue as a unified community, one that speaks of our sameness, our shared experiences, our respect for our differences, and our shared desires for a hate-free future for our communities and the world. This desired result cannot and will not happen if we remain in silos and separate ourselves from one another, focusing on differences. The way to achieving community is right there in the Word. We need to commune, to come together, to unify by working in harmony toward a shared interest a shared interest to simply end hate. This should be a global goal. I am encouraged by the diversity of beliefs standing with us and joining us tonight. This is a step in the right direction. Now we need to expand our message from stopping anti-Semitism to include ending racial hate, religious hate, and any other rage against our fellow community members. Thank you for coming tonight, and I certainly hope we will reach out and join hands with others who share a desire for respect and inclusion and a desire to end hate towards anyone. Thank you.
I'm pleased to invite up Rebecca Goodman. She's the Director of Jewish Community Engagement at JCRC, and that is the organization that helped start Joe, and hopefully she's going to share some resources and thoughts with us. Thank you.
I am Rebecca Goodman from JCRC. There is a packet of information in the back. If you did not have a chance to pick it up, I encourage you to do so before you leave this evening. I grew up here in San Mateo. I returned to raise my family here. My parents happened to be in the second row. We know, and sadly have learned to expect, that when Israel is in the news, anti-Semitism here at home increases, up 400% since October 7th. You've heard some examples of our schools. I'll give you one more. Teachers are injecting politics into their classrooms. A science teacher put up a Free Palestine poster. As a former engineering major, I don't see the connection. When the principal was approached by parents, he approached the teacher and asked the teacher to take down the poster. That's what we want, right? Unfortunately, instead of taking down the poster, the teacher covered it with another sign that said, "Why is this being censored?" It took 2 additional conversations with the principal before all of the posters were taken down off of the wall. I want you to thank that principal for following through 3 conversations with a teacher. JCRC is working with families and public school districts to address challenging issues in the classroom and anti-Semitism. We train, mobilize, and support parents to act as their child's best advocate in over 100 local school districts. We have resources online and in the back of the room to help parents organize groups and focus on issues that are important to them. We work with California schools to ensure that they implement the Ethnic Studies model curriculum that was adopted by the State Board of Education in 2021, and not the original problematic proposal, which is similar to the liberated Ethnic Studies curriculum, which Governor Newsom thankfully vetoed due to pressure from the JCRC and the Jewish community. In the past month, we've created guidance for schools responding to anti-Semitism. We've proactively reached out to every school district before the first walkout for Palestine to ensure that the schools were prepared and ready to support Jewish students on campus. We regularly share balanced resources on Israel and Judaism with educators across the Bay Area. 90% of Bay Area Jews believe in Israel's right to exist and support a democratic state of Israel. 90%. We ask you, from the JCRC, from your elected officials as well, to please don't request pro-Israel resolutions. They are wonderful when they pass, and when they don't, like in the city of Richmond and a few others, they are extremely divisive and very difficult to watch. JCRC works behind the scenes with our allies to not bring these divisive resolutions forward. When we are successful, you don't know about it because the media doesn't know it happened. There are lots of things that you can do. Please instead ask your elected officials to make personal statements. Then, when you see those statements online, like them, share them, elevate them across the social network. Visit our website, join our email list, find out about the action items and alerts, upcoming events, educational resources, and business resources. Join advocacy campaigns. Work together with our allies to amplify our voices. We need empathy, not division. We need our allies to speak up. Thank you. Thank you. And please, when you see anti-Semitism, call it out. Thank you.
Please turn to page 7.
We came to drive away the darkness with light. That's what we're doing.
באנו חושך לגרש, בידינו אור ואש, כל אחד הוא אור קטן, וכולנו אור איתן, סורה חושך על השחור, סורה מפני האור, סורה חושך על השחור, סורה מפני האור. באנו חושך לגרש, בידינו אור ואש, כל אחד הוא אור קטן, וכולנו אור איתן, סורה חושך על השחור, סורה מפני האור, סורה חושך על השחור, סורה מפני האור.
My name is Reverend Stephanie Etzbach Dale. Professionally, I have been serving Unitarian Universalist ministry since 2002. Personally, as a member of Congregation Beth Jacob, I am known by my chosen Hebrew name, Batya Yaakova. As a convert to Judaism, I have been deeply distressed to learn just how much this faith that I have chosen and that I love has been and continues to be misunderstood, and how those misunderstandings can and so often do fuel anti-Semitism in all its forms. I am noticing that existential threats against those with Jewish identity, echoing other not so long ago virulent times in history, create a terror that is hard to sort through and hard to understand. A terror that can make it difficult also at times for those born into this faith to remember what is beautiful and joyful about being Jewish. So I feel moved more than ever before to self-identify as a convert. I chose Judaism, and I choose it every single day for so many reasons. Among them, because it aligns me with those who recognize that life really is a kind of desert wandering, a journey forwards and backwards and forwards again through incredibly challenging landscapes. Life is a constant movement from wherever we've been through the rough terrain and mysteries of the present. Every step we take individually and collectively matters. And this too shall pass. So, I tell myself, gather up the manna, take only what you need, have faith, sweeten life's bitter waters, and when the time comes, don't be afraid to wrestle, to question. Remember and remind one another that we all are made of the dust of the earth and are enlivened by divine breath. My Jewish faith inspires me to look beyond easy answers. It inspires me to get and stay curious about life, to stay curious about the wisdom and compassion and encouragement that we each in every single generation can and must bring to the journey. Judaism highlights for me the holiness potential that exists in each and every moment. It affirms that we are required and empowered to uncover that holiness potential and make it useful, to lift up on any given day at least 100 blessings, and in the process to be a blessing. My imagination is sparked and my spirit is enlivened through time-tested Jewish stories and songs and prayers and rituals. Through the baking of bread, the sanctification of time, the lighting of candles, the honoring of grief, the leaving of comfort zones, and the collective commitment to widening our tent. All of these teachings connect me with others throughout history and beyond geography who anticipate and can hold space for life's complexity, its fragility, and its miraculous invitation to learn and relearn over and over again how to love, how to choose life. Jacob, son of Isaac, son of Abraham, when he had a vision of a ladder that connected the earth with the heavenly realms, awoke and said, Ma nora hamakom hazeh. How awesome is this place? How awesome is this place? Judaism inspires me to actively look for the awesome everywhere, in all times and in all places, and that's not always easy, to hear the birds sing or to see the blue of the sky and be grateful for it. Judaism inspires me to lift up the awesome as we face and seek to repair and transform the awful. The journey continues, and together we are in good company. Manora hamakom hazeh. We move now to the time of the spices. When you came in, hopefully you were able to take a little bag of spices. If you do have one, please take it out now. And if you didn't manage to get one, I invite you to just imagine the most pungent, spicy smell you possibly can. This is a time to return to our bodies, to return to our senses, to return to the week ahead and the work that is yet to be done. Breathe in as I share these words of meditation. Breathing in, I take breath into myself, and breathing out, I join the web of life. Breathing in, I rest in the present. Breathing out, I am part of the past and the future. Breathing in, I honor the shrine in my body. And breathing out, I honor the shrine of the cosmos. Breathing in, presence fills me. And breathing out, presence enfolds me. Breathing in, I witness what is broken. And breathing out, I bow to what is perfect. Breathing in, I offer gratitude for what is. And breathing out, I accept that all changes. Breathing in, I pray for peace for myself. And breathing out, I pray for peace for all beings.
Thank you. We're into our closing section, so we'll meet on page 8. I think we are in Northern California, which means we like local and organic. And so that is the prayer that my colleagues and I have put together. This is literally a locally woven prayer of comfort. Everybody here and many clergy who cannot actually be here but are part of this effort submitted verses of comfort. And this is the beautiful tefillah, the prayer together. So join us. Praise be to the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. Nachamu, nachamu ami. Comfort, find comfort, my people. I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have drawn you with unfailing kindness. O God, you are the bestower of every form of peace. It is in truly knowing you that hearts can find lasting comfort. Make us promoters of comfort for others, and save us from any deed, word, or thought that destroys peace. This is what God says. The people who survive the sword will find favor in the wilderness. I will come to give rest to Israel. And of God's signs is the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the diversity of your languages and your colors. Indeed, in that are signs for those of knowledge. O humanity, indeed, we have created you from male and female, and made you people and tribes that you may know one another. Though I walk through a valley of deepest darkness, I fear no harm, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. God, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. Thank you. A delicious prayer. You can be seated here. I'm going to invite my rabbinic colleagues to join Barbara and Saul and I. I'd also like to invite Adi and Yael on behalf of your families to bring the light of Havdalah. We're going to light the braided candle representing all of us coming together from the memorial candle, bringing the souls of the hostages and those killed in this time into our hope for the future. Over the wine. Sweetness in this world. Bless the light. Thank you. We turn to the last closing song as all of our guests and all of our clergy rise, all of our electeds and our friends. I want to personally thank everyone for being here and encourage you to continue in the effort of connection. The end of your program, you'll see many, many resources and many upcoming multi-faith events. As Mayor Fruman says, we are in this together. One day we will have all of our loved ones home and be able to create this world of peace as we have here in our county, across the world, in Israel, throughout the Middle East, and across our globe. Join us, page 9. Let's sing for peace together.
One day, one day, one day. Let's hear you. One day, one day, one day. Sometimes I lay under the moon and thank God I'm breathing. And then I pray, don't take me soon, 'cause I'm here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around. Because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day. Oh, one day, one day, one day. Oh, Devo Shalom Aleinu. Oh, Devo Shalom Aleinu. Oh, Devo Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Oh, Devo Shalom Aleinu. Oh, Devo Shalom Aleinu. Oh, Devo Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam.
Sing shalom.
Salam, salam. Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Oh, Devo Shalom Aleinu. Oh, Devo Shalom Aleinu. Oh, Devo Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kulam. You sing it. Oh, Devo Shalom Aleinu. Oh, Devo Shalom Aleinu. Oh, Devo Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Salam, shalom.
Thank you, everybody. Please take some cookies and meet a new friend on your way out.
Thank you, Rabbi Laurie. Thank you. Next time we'll do a little...